Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Naresh Mago and with me is Manoj Singh Rana with the evening news. The headlines. Election Commission says multi-layered and comprehensive arrangements put in place to ensure smooth counting of votes tomorrow in Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Goa and Manipur. In Assam, BJP and its ally Ahom Gana Parishad gets majority in municipal polls. Parliament to resume normal schedule in second part of budget session beginning the 14th of this month. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses webinar for discussing budget-related announcements of Department of Investment and Public Asset Management. Country's COVID vaccination coverage exceeds 179 crore 51 lakh mark. Recovery rate improves to 98.69%. Cabinet approves establishment of WHO Global Center for Traditional Medicine in Gujarat. In Jammu and Kashmir, one person killed and 14 others injured in an explosion in Udhampur district. And in ICC Women's World Cup, India to take on hosts New Zealand at Hamilton tomorrow. As we start the bulletin, we appeal to our listeners to stay safe from COVID-19 by following these 4 simple steps. Get fully vaccinated, wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. The Election Commission has said that 671 counting observers, 130 police observers, and 10 special observers will be on ground to ensure smooth counting tomorrow. Briefing the media in New Delhi, Deputy Election Commissioner Chandrabhushan Kumar said the Commission has also deputed 2 special officers, Chief Electoral Officer Delhi to Meerut and Chief Electoral Officer Bihar to Varanasi to supervise the counting arrangements in the districts. He said elaborate and foolproof arrangements have been made at all the counting centres. Mr. Kumar said all strong rooms where EVMs have been kept are under 3-layered security with inner cordon armed by Central Armed Police Forces. He said concerned candidates have been watching strong room arrangements through CCTV coverage 24/7. The Deputy Election Commissioner said the states going to polls, district administration has taken law and order measures, including imposition of Section 144 of Criminal Penal Code around the counting halls to ensure that peace and tranquility is not disturbed anywhere. He said political parties and candidates are involved at each stage related to EVM deployment during elections, which includes opening and closing of EVM warehouse, first-level checking of EVMs and VVPATs, and taking out of EVMs and VVPATs for training and awareness after first-level checking. All necessary preparations in Goa, Manipur, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand are being finalized for the counting of votes in respect of elections to the 5 legislative assemblies tomorrow. In addition, the counting of votes for the simultaneous by-poll to Majuli Assembly seat in Assam will also be taken up. The counting process will begin at 8 a.m. The counting trends and results will be available on the Election Commission website and will be updated every few minutes to display the current round-wise trends and results of each constituency. The trends and results will also be accessible through the Voter Helpline mobile app. In Uttar Pradesh, assembly elections for 403 seats were held in 7 phases from the 10th of February to the 7th of March. Talking about arrangements, the additional chief election officer said,
मतगणना के संबंध में हर जगह पूरी तैयारियां की गई हैं। इसमें सभी मतगणना केंद्रों पर निष्पक्षता पारदर्शिता सुनिश्चित करने और सबसे महत्वपूर्ण की शांति व्यवस्था बरकरार रखने के लिए पर्याप्त व्यवस्थाएं की गई हैं। सबसे पहले पोस्टल बैलेट से प्राप्त मतों की गणना प्रातः 8 बजे शुरू होगी और पहले उनके क्यूआर कोड स्कैनिंग की जाएगी और ईवीएम से प्राप्त मतों की गणना 8:30 बजे से शुरू होगी। पोस्टल मतों की गणना समाप्त होने के बाद ही ईवीएम के मतों का अंतिम राउंड गिना जाएगा, फिर वीवीपैट पर्चियों का मिलान किया जाएगा।
Polling for Punjab Assembly elections was held in a single phase on the 20th of February. The state witnessed multi-cornered contests between the ruling Congress, Aam Aadmi Party, SAD, BSP Alliance, BJP, PLC Alliance and Sanyukt Samaj Morcha Party. Talking to AIR News, Chief Electoral Officer of Punjab S. Karuna Raju said that 66 counting centres have been set up in the state. In Goa, polling was held in 40 assembly constituencies in a single phase on the 14th of February. This time, Goans will not have to wait too long for the results, as counting for all constituencies will be taken up in one go. Goa Chief Electoral Officer Kunal said counting will start with postal ballots at 8 a.m., while counting from EVMs will begin at 8:30 a.m. He said results are expected to start coming in by 11 a.m. In Manipur, counting will start at 8 a.m. tomorrow. The main contest in the state is between the ruling BJP and Congress. A report.
The election authority has notified 41 counting centres spread across different districts of Manipur for the counting of votes tomorrow. Elaborate security arrangements have been made in and around these centres, and process of counting will be webcast. Counting of postal ballots will be done from 8 a.m. and counting of votes polled in EVM will continue. The Election Commission of India appointed 41 general observers for the counting of votes in Manipur. Each general observer will be stationed at a counting hall and supervise the counting process. The train and region of the counting will be available in the ECI website. JJ Thoksom, AIR News, Imphal.
In Uttarakhand, counting of votes for all 70 assembly seats will start from 8 a.m. tomorrow. More from our correspondent.
For each assembly constituency, 3 halls have been prepared, 2 for counting of EVMs and 1 for counting of postal ballots. As per officials, all strong rooms are under 3-cordon security provided by both the state armed police and the central forces. Counting of postal ballots will begin first, while the counting of EVMs will start from 8:30 a.m. Each counting table will have a counting supervisor and an assistant returning officer. In view of COVID, sanitizers, masks, gloves, etc. for poll personnel provided to each counting center. Counting agents will be required to be fully vaccinated or have a negative RT-PCR report. Raghavesh Pandey, AIR News, Dehradun.
The Election Commission has completed all the preparations for the counting of votes. Security arrangements have also been made, in which the local police will be deployed in the outer and central areas, while armed personnel of the Central Police Force will be deployed in the inner circle. The Election Commission has banned all victory processions on or after the day of counting of votes for assembly polls in these states. Not more than 2 people will be allowed to accompany the winning candidates to receive the certificate of election from the concerned returning officer.
A BJP delegation led by party's poll in charge for Uttar Pradesh and Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan today approached the Election Commission and filed a complaint against Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav. They demanded legal action on Mr. Yadav for falsehood and vicious propaganda. Talking to the media after meeting the Election Commission, Mr. Pradhan said the language used by Mr. Yadav is dangerous for democracy. He said Akhilesh Yadav is desperate as he fears defeat in Uttar Pradesh. Mr. Pradhan said Mr. Yadav should accept people's mandate. The News Services Division of All India Radio has made elaborate arrangements for providing authentic and latest results of assembly elections from 5 states tomorrow. AIR will broadcast special bulletins and special programs on the election results. The programs will be broadcast on AIR FM Gold at 100.1 MHz and other channels. It will also be available live on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. AIR correspondents from all the 5 states will provide the latest live updates on counting of votes. Apart from the special election bulletins, in-depth analysis and live discussion will be broadcast from 2:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. An exclusive Radio Bridge program with experts from 5 states shall be aired from 9:15 p.m. to 10 p.m. Similarly, Regional News Unit of AIR throughout the country will mount special programs and news bulletins in regional languages of their respective states. The results will also be available on News on AIR app and on Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
जनादेश 2022
5 राज्यों के विधानसभा चुनाव नतीजों की विशेष कवरेज आकाशवाणी के साथ
10 मार्च 2022 को विशेष कार्यक्रम। ताज़ा रुझान और परिणाम जानने के लिए जुड़े रहिए हमारे साथ सुबह 8 बजे से।
चुनाव नतीजों पर हिंदी और अंग्रेजी में विशेष चर्चा और विश्लेषण शाम 7:20 से रात 8 बजे तक।
चुनावी राज्यों पर विशेष रेडियो ब्रिज कार्यक्रम रात 9:15 से रात 10 बजे तक।
आकाशवाणी के FM गोल्ड, राजधानी चैनल और राष्ट्रीय नेटवर्क पर भी विशेष कार्यक्रम।
DD News, through a wide network of ongoing reporters and stringers to ensure accuracy and fact-check in counting statistics, will bring the most accurate figures in real time from Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Manipur and Goa. Political experts and psephologists will be analysing those figures live on DD News show Janadesh from 7 a.m. onwards. The regional news units of Doordarshan in the 5 poll-bound states will also be mounting separate special shows from 7 a.m. onwards. These special shows and real-time updates on leads and results will also be available on Prasar Bharati's digital platforms, including news on AIR app, Telegram channel and Twitter handle of Prasar Bharati News Services and YouTube channels of DD and AIR.
In Assam, the ruling BJP and its ally Ahom Gana Parishad got majority in 77 municipal boards polls. The BJP won maximum seats in 75 boards, while Ahom Gana Parishad has the majority in 2 municipal boards. Congress won 1 board, and independent candidates got majority in remaining 2 boards. Our correspondent reports that polls were held for 977 seats in 80 municipal boards. The BJP won 742 and alliance partner Ahom Gana Parishad got 65 seats. Opposition Congress won 71 seats, while independents and other parties got 99 seats. Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma said the results reiterated the people's trust on the leadership and vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed gratitude to the people of Assam for blessing the BJP and its allies in the recently concluded municipal elections. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, "This shows the people's faith in the party's development agenda." He applauded the hard-working party Karyakartas for their efforts and service among people. Delhi State Election Commissioner S.K. Srivastava has said that the Commission will not be able to announce the MCD election dates as of now, as the centre has raised a few issues that are yet to be legally examined. Briefing the media in New Delhi, Mr. Srivastava said the Commission will take some more days to announce the MCD poll schedule. He added that the polls have to be conducted before the 18th of May this year. Earlier there were reports that the poll body will announce the MCD elections this evening.
Parliament will return to its normal functioning schedule in the second part of the budget session beginning the 14th of this month and will conclude on the 8th of next month. Both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha will sit from 11 a.m. instead of working in shifts. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla will address the valedictory function of the 3rd edition of National Youth Parliament Festival NYPL on Friday in the Central Hall of Parliament. Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Anurag Thakur will address the inaugural session of the national round of NYPF 2022 tomorrow. Minister of State for Youth Affairs and Sports Nishit Pramanik will distribute the certificates to the participants. The top 3 national winners will also get an opportunity to speak before the Lok Sabha Speaker during the valedictory function. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Election Commission says multi-layered and comprehensive arrangements put in place to ensure smooth counting of votes tomorrow in Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Goa and Manipur. In Assam, BJP and its ally Ahom Gana Parishad get majority in municipal polls. Parliament to resume normal schedule in second part of budget session beginning the 14th of this month. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses webinar for discussing budget-related announcements of Department of Investment and Public Asset Management. Country's COVID vaccination coverage exceeds the 179 crore 51 lakh mark. Recovery rate improves to 98.69%. Cabinet approves establishment of WHO Global Centre for Traditional Medicine in Gujarat. In Jammu and Kashmir, 1 person killed and 14 others injured in an explosion in Udhampur district. And in ICC Women's World Cup, India to take on host New Zealand at Hamilton tomorrow. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का सुलभ और सस्ता माध्यम है आकाशवाणी।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न केंद्रों से कीजिए अपने उत्पादों और सेवाओं का प्रचार विज्ञापनों के माध्यम से।
लोकल और राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर कीजिए अपने बिजनेस का विस्तार, क्योंकि आकाशवाणी में विज्ञापन बुकिंग हुई बहुत ही आसान।
अब घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे आप कर सकते हैं विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
डायल कीजिए 870-001-4242।
नंबर एक बार फिर नोट करें, 870-001-4242।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today addressed a webinar for discussing budget-related announcements of Department of Investment and Public Asset Management, DIPAM. This culminates the series of 11 budget-related webinars that the Prime Minister addressed. Mr. Modi participated in the budget-related webinars relating to ministries and departments of higher education, rural development, agriculture, defense, health, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, DPIIT, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Department of Economic Affairs, and DIPAM. The Union Budget 2022 has made several announcements for the economic growth of the country and to further the well-being of our people. These webinars were conducted with the objective of sustaining the momentum of the budget and to create a sense of ownership by all stakeholders in its implementation. These webinars have covered a diverse spectrum of subjects like smart agriculture, PM Gati Shakti, Atmanirbharta in defense, digital education and dynamic skilling, inclusive and equitable healthcare delivery, Make in India and financing for aspirational economy, etc. The webinar saw an estimated participation of around 40,000 stakeholders, which included entrepreneurs, MSMEs, exporters, global investors, representatives of the central and state governments, and youth from the world of startups, among others. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be on a two-day visit to Gujarat from Friday. At around 4 p.m. on 11th March, the Prime Minister will participate in Gujarat Panchayat Mahasammelan and address the gathering. Gujarat has three-tier Panchayati Raj structure with 33 district panchayats, 248 taluka panchayats and over 14,500 gram panchayats. Gujarat Panchayat Mahasammelan, Apnu Gam, Apnu Gaurav will witness participation of more than 1 lakh representatives from the three tiers of the Panchayati Raj institutions in the state. Mr. Modi will dedicate the building of Rashtriya Raksha University RRU to the nation on Saturday at 11 a.m. He will also deliver the first convocation address of the RRU as the chief guest. At around 6:30 p.m. on Saturday, the Prime Minister will declare open the 11th Khel Mahakumbh and deliver an address on the occasion. Started in 2010 in Gujarat under the visionary leadership of then Chief Minister Narendra Modi with 16 sports and 13 lakh participants, Khel Mahakumbh today encompasses 36 general sports and 26 para sports. Over 45 lakh sportspersons have registered for the 11th Khel Mahakumbh.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today had a telephonic conversation with his Hungarian counterpart Viktor Orban. The two leaders discussed the ongoing situation in Ukraine and agreed on the need to ensuring an immediate ceasefire and a return to diplomacy and dialogue. Mr. Modi conveyed his warm thanks to Mr. Orban and to the Hungarian government for facilitating the evacuation of more than 6,000 Indian citizens through the Ukraine-Hungary border. Mr. Orban conveyed his best wishes to the Indian medical students evacuated from Ukraine and said that they could choose to continue their studies in Hungary if they wished. Mr. Modi expressed his appreciation for this generous offer. The leaders agreed to remain in touch on the evolving situation and to continue their efforts to encourage an end to the conflict. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today had a conversation with Italian Foreign Minister Luigi Di Maio on the Ukraine situation. Both the ministers reaffirmed the importance of an early ceasefire and return to dialogue and diplomacy. The last batch of Indian students has left the eastern Ukraine and is moving towards the western part. They will enter the neighbouring countries to be evacuated from there. This was stated by Union Minister Piyush Goyal while briefing the media in New Delhi, along with senior BJP leader and Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur. He said it is a matter of great pride for all to bring back more than 20,000 Indian nationals who were stranded in Ukraine within 3 weeks. Lauding the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Mr. Goyal said Mr. Modi himself took this matter seriously and held 8 high-level meetings and talked to world leaders. Every possible use of diplomacy was done so that the Indian citizens could come back safely. He said India evacuated citizens from Nepal, Pakistan and Bangladesh as well.
सिविल एविएशन और एयरफोर्स दोनों ने यहां से विशेष विमान भेज के जल्द से जल्द वापस लाने में अपना योगदान दिया। हम साथ ही साथ कुछ पाकिस्तान, नेपाल और बांग्लादेश के भी नागरिकों को, खासतौर के विद्यार्थियों को साथ में लाने में सफल हुए, उनको भी इवैक्यूएट करने में सफल हुए।
Indian ambassador to Ukraine today flagged a special train with 600 Indian students from Sumay University at the Lviv railway station. They will travel to Poland and are expected to board evacuation flights to India tomorrow.
India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed the 179 crore 51 lakh mark today. The Health Ministry said more than 15 lakh 95,000 vaccine doses were administered today. It said more than 2 crore 9 lakh precaution doses have been administered to the identified categories of beneficiaries like healthcare workers, frontline workers and people over 60 years of age. India's recovery rate now stands at 98.69%. International flights to and from India will resume from the 27th of this month. The Civil Aviation Ministry had suspended the regular international flights in March 2020 in view of the COVID-19 pandemic. In our bilingual live phone-in program, Corona Jagrukta series, Professor Dr. N.N. Mathur, former director, Lady Hardinge Medical College ENT Department, will be with us today to answer queries related to coronavirus. Listeners can ask questions to the expert from 9:30 p.m. on telephone number 011-2342-1230 and 011-2342-1764. You can also post your queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alert by hashtag AskAIR. This live program can be heard on the FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.nic.in and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. The Union Cabinet has approved the establishment of the WHO Global Centre for Traditional Medicine in Jamnagar, Gujarat. It will be the first and only global outposted centre for traditional medicine across the globe. It will be established under the Ministry of Ayush. It will ensure quality, safety and efficacy, accessibility and rational use of traditional medicine and work to develop norms, standards and guidelines in relevant technical areas, tools and methodologies for collecting data, undertaking analytics and assessing impact. The National Medical Commission has removed the upper age limit for appearing in the NEET UG examination. In a letter addressed to the National Testing Agency, NTA, the Commission has asked the agency to remove the maximum age criteria from the information bulletin of NEET UG. The letter said it has been decided in the 4th NMC meeting that there should not be any fixed upper age limit for appearing in the NEET UG examination. Therefore, the information bulletin may be modified accordingly. It said further the process for official notification to suitably amend the regulations on graduate medical education 1997 to this effect has been initiated. The National Medical Commission is the top regulatory body of medical education in the country. Earlier, the age limit was 25 years for general category candidates and 30 years in the case of reserved category candidates. The Union Cabinet was today apprised of a Memorandum of Understanding signed between the Indian Council of Medical Research and the Oxford University in November last year. The MOU is aimed at capacity building for Indian scientists and researchers, collection of data compliant with international standards and regulatory requirements, and development of India towards becoming a regional hub for capacity development.
Minister for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, MSME, Narayan Rane has said that the Narendra Modi government is committed to supporting the MSMEs through friendly policies, bringing in the latest technology, setting up training centres and providing credits. Addressing the 8th MSME Excellence Awards and Summit 2022 organized by ASSOCHAM in New Delhi, Mr. Rane said the MSME sector will help in making a truly Atmanirbhar Bharat. The centre has been extending financial assistance to the National Sports Federation under its scheme of assistance for various sports activities, including training and participation of Indian sportspersons and teams in international tournaments. The Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has revised the norms of assistance effective from the 1st of March 2022.
The BJP today alleged that the leaders of Maharashtra's ruling Mahavikas Aghadi are conspiring with police to frame its senior leaders in false cases and demanded a CBI probe into the matter. Briefing the media in New Delhi, party spokesperson Shehzad Poonawalla, while quoting a recording of alleged conversation of state's special public prosecutor, said that he was collaborating with some ministers of the Maharashtra government and officials to frame senior BJP leaders, including Devendra Fadnavis, in false cases. Mr. Poonawalla alleged that the state government is working to suppress the opposition's voice. He also alleged that the state police is involved in alleged extortion and conspiracy. Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel presented the budget for the next financial year in the State Assembly today. No new tax has been imposed in this budget of 1,04,000 crore rupees.
Presenting the budget today, Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel made several announcements for various sections. The old pension scheme has been restored for the government officers and employees of the state. It has also been announced to waive the examination fees of the local participants of Chhattisgarh state in all the competitive examinations conducted by the Chhattisgarh Professional Examination Board and the Chhattisgarh Public Service Commission. Apart from increasing the amount of MLA fund from rupees 2 crore to rupees 4 crore, the honorarium of various panchayat representatives, including the district panchayat president and sarpanch, has also been increased. In the budget presented today, the maximum provision of 16% was made for school education. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, one person was killed and 14 injured in a mysterious explosion at Salatia Chowk in Udhampur district today. In a tweet, Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh said the blast occurred near Tehsildar office at Udhampur. AIR Jammu correspondent reports that the blast took place around 1 p.m. under a vending cart at a vegetable market near the Tehsildar office. CRPF and J&K police personnel arrived at the incident site and started investigating the nature of the explosion. In the ICC Women's World Cup, India will take on New Zealand at Seddon Park in Hamilton tomorrow. India have 2 points from one match, while New Zealand have 2 points from 2 matches.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi is likely to have a partly cloudy sky. The temperature will vary between 15 and 31 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a partly cloudy sky. The minimum temperature will be 23 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 34 degrees. Chennai is likely to have a partly cloudy sky with temperatures hovering between 25 and 32 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have a mainly clear sky with temperatures between 22 and 33 degrees. Srinagar will have a mainly clear sky. Jammu will have a mainly clear sky with temperatures between 13 and 27 degrees. Leh and Gilgit are likely to have a partly cloudy sky. Muzaffarabad will have a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Election Commission says multi-layered and comprehensive arrangements put in place to ensure smooth counting of votes tomorrow in Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Goa and Manipur. In Assam, BJP and its ally Ahom Gana Parishad get majority in municipal polls. Parliament to resume normal schedule in second part of budget session beginning the 14th of this month. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today addressed webinar for discussing budget-related announcements of Department of Investment and Public Asset Management. Country's COVID vaccination coverage exceeds the 179 crore 51 lakh mark. Recovery rate improves to 98.69%. Cabinet approves establishment of WHO Global Center for Traditional Medicine in Gujarat. In Jammu and Kashmir, one person killed and 14 others injured in an explosion in Udhampur district. And in ICC Women's World Cup, India to take on hosts New Zealand at Hamilton tomorrow. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website newsonair.gov.in and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.